about a year and a half, 2 years ago or more, I was tutoring a young man, and I helped him for to prepare for a calculus test, and then the very next day, I got a message back from the young man's parent saying that they had failed the test or a quiz. I can't remember which one it was, and the parent would be immediately withdrawing the young man from tutoring with me. And it was interesting. Was I frustrated? Yeah, I was. So let me give a little bit of backstory. So this actually is a young person who I've been tutoring in the previous math of last year, and he had a great year. So we had a history of success, you know, and so we just continued on with uh, tutoring for calculus, and we got to this first quiz or whatever it was, and there was a failure, and then the parent immediately withdrew the student from tutoring. Now, the main reason that I was really frustrated is because of the history that I had with this young man. He's a great student, by the way. Really, really good student. Yeah, I enjoyed tutoring him. Um, but the reason why I'm even mentioning this story is because whenever that kind of thing happens, it kind of shakes you a bit. I thought that with the history that I had with the tutor, and even my own history, with math. Being an engineer, I took a whole lot of math, and so it's like, hey, this will be you know a great experience and whatnot. I hadn't tutored calculus in a long time before then, um, and so it kind of shakes your confidence a little bit. However, one thing I've learned is that whenever it comes to failure, whether you're on my side where I am now as a tutor or you're a current student, the thing with failure is failure doesn't mean the end. Cause yeah, that bothered me because again, calculus for me is like I took that a long time ago and I took many maths after that, calculus one that is. And so it's kind of like just a very foundational, somewhat walk in the park kind of thing for me now. Um, but failure doesn't mean that it's all over. And I think somewhere along the way, a lot of us as students, we learn that somewhere. Um, but it's just simply not true. And what happens is it end up making you an emotional wreck because you feel like because you failed, you are a failure. But understand this: failing is always a possibility, even if you are a great student. Even if you are one who studies, you're generally prepared, all this kind of stuff, failure is always an option. And one thing that we kind of mistakenly think is that failure shouldn't ever happen. And that if failure happens, it means that there's something wrong with you. But that's just not the way life works, y'all. Like I say, even me as a tutor helping a young man and having him to fail a quiz. The thing is, I'm going to tutor people and they're going to fail still sometimes. Now, I don't want that to be the norm because that definitely is like indicative of me. Now, this did cause me to self reflect and think about my tutoring methods and whatnot. But I will say, thankfully, that the large majority of people that I tutor, not to mention the ones tutored through MassWalk Tutoring, experience great improvements and overall success, you know. But anytime you embark on a new math class or even something new in life, you embarking on something new for yourself means that failure is a possibility. That's the way that life is. And so the way that you actually become a failure is by quitting, because at that point you eliminate your chances for ever improving. However, if and it's cliche, but a lot of students don't really understand this. If you see failing as an opportunity for you to learn something new about studying habits, something new about yourself and what works for you, then failure does become a bridge to success. That's the way it is. It's just like a baby who's learning to walk and falling repeatedly. Like you, if any of us ever saw a baby just one day just stand up and start walking and there was no stumbling, no falling or anything like that, then we would instinctively believe that something unusual had occurred, that something was probably wrong, or there was some sort of anomaly or something like that, or this child was some sort of prodigy or mutant, alien, something like that. You know what I mean? And so when that kid failed and the parent withdrew the student from my tutoring, even though we had a long history of success, yes, it did bother me a bit. However, I have learned over my life, through my time in school, through my time as a tutor, through my time as an engineer, I've learned that you're not going to hit the mark every single time. However, those are learning experiences and they don't define you. They are showing you essentially opportunities where you can go to the next level. Because the thing is, had you not experienced that failure, there are certain things that you would have never ever learned. So expect failure sometimes. I'm not saying to just kind of like settle, but expect it, and learn from it. All right. Hopefully somebody hears this message. Hey, thank you for watching this video. If you need math tutoring or you need SAT math help, look in the description to find out how you can sign up today. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you stay in touch with Math Swap Tutoring on YouTube. Have a good one.